morning, ladies as well as gentlemen. Papa Boris is back for some more Hearthstone Arena action. I clicked Mage to select my class. The choices were between Mage, Priest, and Shaman. Those are my three favorite classes in the arena, as we saw at the sneak preview of the land of the last video. And I decided to pick the Mage because simply it had been the longest time since I had made the Mage video. So Shaman will be up next in my top 3 rotation. Really looking forward to seeing if I can do a 6 wins in a row, or excuse me, 6 arenas in a row with Shaman at 9 wins. The last 5 have all been 9ers. This Mage arena is unfortunately kicking off with a little bit of a crap rare here. I think the only one of these playable is the Master Swordsmith, so let me go ahead and turn down my volume and pick that Swordsmith right up. Alright, here we have Vaporize. I don't think this is a good secret. So I'm actually going to grab the Wild Pyromancer. Mages do have tons of spells, and so the Wild Pyromancer is good for some board clearing action, and that is as an early drop. The Ravenholt Assassin is a nice finisher, but hopefully we'll get something in the next 28 picks to also count for our late game here. We have another rare. Luckily, this pack of garbage has the Stampeding Kodo in it, which is an amazing card, one of my absolute favorites. Let's go ahead and grab that up. Here we have 2 sort of mediocre 3 and 4 drops. I'm actually going to take Mirror Image. I'm just having more and more respect for this spell. It really slows things down for your opponent. It's really annoying if they have like one big creature. They have to essentially run into your stupid Mirror Images twice. And also, it triggers Wild Pyromancer and Mana Worms. Hopefully we'll pick up a Mana Worm at some point here in this draft. Okay, Arcane Explosion is definitely a decent card. Especially with the Wild Pyromancer, it'll deal 2 damage to all enemy minions. Is that worth passing over these really high quality 5 drops? You know, actually, I'm going to take it. These are good 5 drops. What I really want are 3 and 4 drops, though. I'll take a 5 drop later on. Let's make sure we have this Arcane Explosion. It's nice for clearing out Blood Imps. It's nice for clearing out Paladin minions. We're seeing lots and lots of Paladins in the arena lately. And in general, it's nice for finishing opponents off. So we're going to go ahead and grab it up here. Okay, well here I'm going to take an Iron Beak out to make sure we have some silence. I'm having more and more respect for having some silence in your deck, and these 2 cards are okay, but let's pick a silence here because they're not exceptional. Alright, well Flame Strike is an easy pick here. Gotta have those Flame Strikes. It's a pretty signature spell for mages. And Amani Berserker is really great as well. It's especially nice for mages because you can ping it, make it a 5/2, and then you can trade way up. I mean, you can trade this for like a Senjin Shieldmaster, which is 2 mana higher, so it's nice to have this when you're a mage. Okay, well, I think rather than taking this little dinky card drawing 2-drop, we'll take the Earthen Ring Farseer. Some healing is nice to have against rogues and fellow mages and other burny types. This guy can get totally out of control, but you need to play secrets, and that's a little bit inconsistent, so we're just going to grab the Azure Drake. This is a really great 5-drop. You're getting card draw, you're getting spell damage, it's just all good. Okay, very tough call here. Got to choose between the Cult Master and the Raging Worgen. So the Raging Worgen, you can, turn on Wind Fury yourself by pinging with the hero ability. But the Cult Master, we've seen some runs where this just gets absolutely out of control. It's actually really nice with Mirror Image, because if the opponent has no removal for your Cult Master, then they have to shoot through these 2 Mirror Images, drawing you 2 cards in the process. You know what? Both of these cards are amazing. I think the higher upside is with the Cult Master, so I'm going to take him or her or it over the Worgen. Well, the Frost Nova is a card I want to have in my deck, but I think it's not as important as Mana Worm. This card just can get so ridiculous. It's got a lot of health for a 1-drop, and it gets bigger and bigger, so I think it's really important to make sure we grab that while we can. Injured Blade Master is a really good 3-drop, but Argent Commander, we've talked about this before. This card is just stupendous. Pretty much every time this drops, the person on the other end is like, "Oh no, Argent Commander!" And then it's just terrible. Alright, well, you know what? As cool as the Ravenholt Assassin is, I'm going to take another Argent Commander. It's cheaper and it's just crazier. We have another Mana Worm. I'm going to take a Mana Worm. I'm going to be sad that I passed on 2 Frost Novas because I really might regret not having them in this deck if no more come around. But Mana Worm is just so ridiculous, especially if you're going second. And you can play like Mana Worm, Coin, Mirror Image. You've just got a 3/3 on turn 1 and 2 images to protect it. I mean, it's just a very explosive card. Okay, here you've, I think, just got to take the Senjin. As sexy as this wolf is with the buffing and stuff, it is at the end of the day just a 2/2 for 2. This guy there are some aggressive draws your opponents can have where this just absolutely stops them in their tracks if they don't have a removal in their hand to back up their start. So it's a very important card to have on hand. Okay, I don't like this Booty Bay Bodyguard. It's too expensive for how low its health is, but I'll take a Bluegill Warrior. It's kind of crappy removal, but I'll take it nonetheless. Here, though, we're going to take a Dark Iron Dwarf, because those are amazing. I think even better than the Bluegill Warrior. And Ice Lance would be nice if I had some of those Frost Novas, but currently I have actually nothing that freezes. So all this is really doing in my deck is throwing away a card to slow a creature down and pop my Mana Worms. There's no Gadgets and Auctioneers here to draw cards off of it, or this Violet Spell Teacher to make 1/1s. We gotta take the Dark Iron Dwarf. Okay, well this is a bit of a weird pack. I still don't want the Ice Lance. We're gonna take this. I'm super unhappy about it though. I would love it if this were like that Raging Worgen that I had to choose between it and the Cult Master. Like that right here would be great. So here we're getting a very, very mediocre card, unfortunately. Okay, well the Blizzard is a ridiculously good rare. You pretty much always want to take that. We get lots of good cards here. So Acolyte of Pain would be nice to have for some card draw, but I think Cone of Cold is just stupendously good, and I'd rather have it over the potential for drawing cards. Spellbender is actually kind of neat, but I think you have to take Pyroblast. You're just playing like a different game than your opponent. When you have Pyroblast and you actually draw it, the game is get your opponent down to 10 health. Like, you only need to deal 20 damage to your opponent, whereas they have to deal 30 damage to you. I think it's a real game changer of a card. Ugh, this is a bunch of crap. We'll take the Abomination, though I'm not super excited about it. And I guess I'll take the Charger here rather than the expensive Pirate for a bit more surprisingness. Flesh-Eating Ghoul, I do need some 3-drops, so we'll take that. It's a very, very good one. Mirror Entity. Man, this card does sometimes just blow me out. I don't have any card draw here. Not that I necessarily need it. You know, I'd rather just take a creature than a thing that draws whatever my next card is. So we'll try the Mirror Entity and just kind of see how that goes. Water Elemental, damn it! Why couldn't, like, I had seen this Water Elemental, like, you know, over this Silverback Patriarch, or even the Stormwind Knight. Such a good card, but you have to take Polymorph. It's important to have one-click removal in your deck. Okay, well, let's take a look at this pack. All of these cards are good. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 creatures that are 5 mana or more. I usually snap up the Stormwind Champion, but I don't think that's actually the right call here. I'm going to take the Warden just to block things up a little bit for my opponent. I'm a little bit light on taunt, so it'd be nice to have one more of it. Oh my god. Well, this mage draft hasn't been the best. I'm not that excited about Darkscale Healer. I do have some healing in here, and this guy is kind of meh. We'll take the kind of card draw-ish thing and end on another Blizzard. All right. So with those Blizzards that I saw like 2 Blizzards after passing on 2 Ice Lances. I now do wish I had an Ice Lance in here. That would be nice. But this draft, I'd say it was average. There were definitely some cases where it was everything good in one place, and then everything bad in another place. There weren't a lot of easy picks, and there were a lot of hard picks because everything was bad. So, I'm not sure I'll go all the way with this, but that is the beauty of the win-or-lose format here. Kabi the Priest. Alright. Well, Pyroblast is neat, but we don't really need it just yet. And this guy, I honestly just like him so little. I'm going to just ship him back. I don't even care that he's a 2-drop. I want my actual good cards. Okay, Mirror Image could be nice. It might protect the Pyromancer. This is a little bit of a non-bow, because the Wild Pyromancer kills these mirror images. But I like getting that down. Well, so this actually is interesting. My opponent's either getting a really good card for the late game or the Wild Pyromancer for now. So we'll see if he got the Pyromancer or not here. We could have some Pyromancer wars. Okay, so my opponent clearly would have played the Pyromancer if that was what he had drawn. So he's either holding a Stampeding Kodo or an Argent Commander. That is important to keep in mind. I am missing a beat, unfortunately, here. I'd love to play something with 3 mana, but I don't have any 3-drops. I also don't have any 4-drops. If I don't get any of my 4-drops next turn, I'm going to be in serious trouble. Well, now I wish I'd kept that Master Swordsmith, but damn it, I hate that card so much. And my curve is pretty low. I should have something for 4 mana or less here. It's kind of unfortunate. So my opponent also has a slow start. I guess that's good. I'd rather, him having a slow start than a fast one. This is actually really nice, so I'm actually pretty happy with this Mirror Entity so far. Yeah, everything does get hurt, which is kind of sad. Luckily, against Priests, 1 health doesn't matter. Like, if I were up against a Mage, Arcane Explosion would just like blow me out. But see, Holy Smite deals 2 damage, it really doesn't make any difference. Alright, so now my opponent hasn't played anything all game. He's got to worry that any creature that he plays will just get copied. So he's going to take it slow here. Alright. Well, there's no reason to play the Abomination, so I think the Azure Drake is fine here. And my opponent has a very slow start. Very, very, very slow. And this is also immune to the Priest's Shadow spells, which is nice. An Acolyte of Pain. I'm pretty happy about that, honestly. So I get an Acolyte of Pain. My opponent probably well, my opponent either has a Stampeding Kodo or an Argent Commander. If it's Argent Commander, I'm not that bothered, because they'll have to run into these mirror images. But if it's a Stampeding Kodo, my Acolyte could die. But then again, actually, these guys are also fodder for the Stampeding Kodo. So actually, whichever of these 2 cards my opponent has, I'm not that bothered. Now, what I could do is run my Acolyte into his Acolyte, and then we each draw a card. Or I could just kill his Acolyte. You know, I'm gonna keep him from getting cards. I'm gonna play Stampeding Kodo, kill his Acolyte. Let's not get greedy. I have plenty of cards already, so I don't need more, and I don't want my opponent to draw any like answers in case his hand sucks and he doesn't have any good stuff here. I don't want him to draw any more things. Alright, so he's playing his first card of the game, pretty much, which is Argent Commander. See, it's not very useful. It still has to run into this other thing before it can actually do anything useful. I could run my Acolyte into this to draw a card and pop the Divine Shield, or I could pop the Divine Shield with my hero ability. And then use the Stampeding Kodo to finish this guy off. Let me actually do a quick count here. I've got 4, 5, 8, down to 16 life. Pyroblast is really getting close to becoming a problem for my opponent here. This actually does 11 damage. You know, let's actually go for the throat. I'm just gonna do this and ignore his guy. I mean, we have almost won the game here. Pyroblast plus pretty much any of my creatures attacking just wins it. Coin. Alright, here finally comes the coin, and Mind Control to take my Argent Commander. Smart move. So you can kill the mirror image with one commander, kill the Azure Drake with the other, and then lose the game. Okay, that was a very bizarre game. I don't think it's really representative of this deck. My opponent, I don't know what he had in his hand, Mr. Kabi the Priest, but, well played. But he didn't play like anything until turn 6. And all things considered, the fact that it took me until turn 8 to kill him was actually kind of slow, given how his start went. Alright, anyway, that was nice to get a kind of a free win here in the arena, either due to a bad draft or to an unlucky draw, or perhaps an unlucky draft and an unlucky draw. My opponent didn't put up any kind of resistance there, which is nice. And as always, I'm going to play the first couple of games here in this video, and then if you're enjoying how the arena is running, you can check out the rest of the games upcoming in the second video, which I will post shortly. And I should always add that my gold is visible down in the bottom right-hand corner of my screen, so I apologize that I clicked on Mage before I started recording, but you can check the gold count and confirm that I'm still keeping honest and recording all the arenas as they happen. Alright, well, I'm actually going to send all this back. I'd like to actually get some real 2-drops, and Mirror Entity is not my favorite thing to play on turn 3. Okay, well, I've got 2 drops in here. Like, I've got 2 Mana Worms, I've got Mirror Image. There's a Mana Worm. There we go. I don't have any spells to fuel it with, but my opponent doesn't necessarily know that, so this could actually bait out a Shadow Word. And I don't have anything for the next 2 turns, which is a problem. The Mage's hero ability is, I would say, really, really strong, except for when there's, like, nothing going on. Then it's very weak. Like, spending a turn to deal 1 damage is way worse than, like, a Paladin spending a turn to put a 1-1 on the board, or a Shaman putting a Totem on the board. Okay, my opponent's going to use the coin to play Knife Juggler. Well, it's a pretty good answer to the Mana Worm. I'm actually just going to... I wish I could play a spell and then just have the Mana Worm get buffed and swing into the Knife Juggler, but alas, that's not to be. So we're just going to go ahead and trade using my hero ability. Looking forward to playing this monkey on the next turn. Actually, I'm lying. I'm still bitter that this Cult Master got picked over a Worgen, and then this is the 3-drop I had to take in a later pack. Man, it would be so much better if this were a Worgen coming down next turn, can you imagine? So I'm dropping a lot of Taunt, which is kind of cool, I guess. Because then this Cult Master will be nice and well protected, but, okay, even more Taunt. But, these Taunters have a lot of health. It's actually going to be really difficult for me to kill creatures. So yeah, this could have actually been a Raging Worgen, and I think in this case it'd be a heck of a lot better than the Cult Master is. Okay, my opponent Mind Blasted me. This card is terrible. Thought Steal, oh Jesus, that's a card I'm never happy to see Priest play, because it, can steal really good things, like Blizzards. I've got 2 of them in here. Got Flame Strike in here, oh my god. You know what's interesting, I never actually saw any Frostbolts in this draft. That's really sad. No Frostbolts, no Fireball, there's just 1 Polymorph. Yeah, this was a really mediocre draft. Kind of sad, but we can still win this game. Let's see what my opponent's going to do on turn 4. I don't have any removal here, because I just didn't see that much of it in the draft. But if he does play something like a Light Spawn, I could just play a Cult Master, trade both my things into it, and draw a couple of cards. Actually, the Light Spawn wouldn't even die from that. Jesus Christ. Okay. He's going to play Berserker on turn 4, so he must have just top-decked that. So it's a good thing he didn't have it 2 turns earlier. I mean, I just totally own this thing with my Senjin, unless my opponent has some kind of cool play here with 2 mana. Argent Squire, not really gonna cut it, I'm afraid. Azure Drake, well, I think the Azure Drake is very tempting here to draw a card, of course, and to get spell damage, but Mirror Entity is interesting because my opponent's got to be dropping something big pretty soon, right? I mean, you just gotta figure. So I'm gonna play the Mirror Entity here. My opponent doesn't know that, though. Let's go ahead and do that, and kill off the Argent Squire. I don't want this thing getting buffed by a Dark Iron Dwarf next turn or any other nonsense. Let's just get my guys down to 3 health. It's totally fine. Survives Holy Nova, that's all I care about. And then they're also primed for a Cult Master to drop later and get some cards. Novice Engineer, well played by my opponent. So that wastes my Mirror Entity really hardcore. I just got a 1/2 for 3 mana, and I don't get to draw the card off of it. God damn it, that's terrible. Well, I was thinking my opponent didn't play anything good all game, so maybe on turn 5 he'd actually play stuff, but no, not a chance. Alright, well, let's go ahead and, I think now's the time for, well, I was thinking of doing the Cult Master, trading the Novice Engineer in for the Loot Hoarder, drawing a card. But the Flesh-Eating Ghoul is actually quite tempting here because, yeah, it's really tempting. It's going to get really big. Then again, for the rest of my 3 mana, all I'm doing is using the Hero ability. Yeah, we'll actually just do this. So let's get a card. We're going to, I think I'm actually going to save that. We're going to swing the monkey down to 2 health, but I'm going to avoid using the Senjin to kill the Novice Engineer, because I don't want this thing to be at 2 health. So Holy Nova is already really good right here. It kills the monkey and the Cult Master. And the Cult Master's paid for himself. He'd be sad to die to a Holy Nova, but at least the Senjin would survive. God damn it, he took a Blizzard. Jesus Christ. So lame. Thought Steal. Well, anyway, that's sad. So this actually was like the worst case scenario, because Holy Nova would have at least let me attack with this guy. Instead, that happened. Okay, this guy's not really worth it. Yeah, I'll just play an Azure Drake. It's pretty big. It dodges priest removal spells. Polymorph is nice. And you know what? We'll actually just play this thing. Whatever, man. Sure, it dies to Holy Nova, but whatever. I'm gonna guess my opponent doesn't actually have it. Okay, well, we're actually holding on to this Pyroblast here, so it's pretty decent. I mean, I'm dealing a fair bit of damage per turn here. I think this is his own monkey. I was already holding on to mine when he Thought Stole, I believe, or maybe I drew it later. I'm not sure. Does he have some kind of health buff for it? He's pointing a lot of stuff at a lot of things. Abaddon. I don't know how to pronounce that accent on the O. Abaddon. Dun 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 dun. Harvest Golem. Alright, it's a pretty good card. Man, my opponent, how come he hasn't been playing anything all game, but, like, the stuff he does play sucks. Okay, so we're going to, I think, drop a Flesh-Eating Ghoul here. We'll do this. Kill it. I'm actually going to do this. The reason for that is I want to kill this ghoul on my turn. so that he doesn't get to do stuff with his Harvest Goal on his turn. I'll play this. This guy survives Holy Nova and in fact becomes enraged. So I'd say I'm in pretty good shape. My opponent really needs to use Shadow Word Death on this, assuming he has it. Or an Argent Commander. Ah, Sunwalker is also a good card. And also, you know, stop me from attacking him. I do have this Pyroblast, which is becoming a credible threat. Now, if it weren't for this Sunwalker, I would deal quite a lot of damage, actually. 6, 8, 12, 14. Yeah, that would be enough to win the game. Instead, I have to Polymorph. Which, like, not that I'm complaining about that or anything. Let's just go ahead and kill this sheep. I don't need to play my other creatures. Swing, swing, swing. And look at that Flesh-Eating Ghoul, guys. That Flesh-Eating Ghoul is a monster. Now, my opponent's going to need healing beyond his hero ability. That will only take him up to 9 health. Pyroblast still kills him. Northstar Cleric, that's a good play on turn 1. I don't know what kind of deck my opponent's playing, but it was weird. He had a lot of like cheap drops that he dropped later in the game. Maybe he just had all his buff spells or something. Ah, Kodo gets a bad creature. It's fine. Shadow Word Pain. Okay, there we go. He's got like all his good cards for early in the game, but he's playing them like at the end. So anyway, I'm not going to complain. I don't even need Pyroblast here. We're just going to let the Flesh-Eating Ghoul have those honors and give it GG. So yeah, my opponent, he had that Sunwalker that really would have held the fort, but I drew my 1 Polymorph, and so that kind of saved me. It was a 5/10 with Divine Shield. That would have been a bitch to get through. Okay, so that was a nice start with an average Mage deck. We'll see how far we can take this baby. If you enjoyed the video, please do like and or subscribe. And if you want to see the rest of the arena, then stay tuned because it's going to be coming up soon. I'll see you shortly.